Thank you very much, Dr. Ginter. Now, I would like to present Dr. Sofra. He's going to present on sexual anti-aging, new methods to enhance female satisfaction and empower women.
Thank you very much for having me and attending this conference. This session is actually about empowering women. And it's about not just looking beautiful, but also about increasing your energy, your fitness, your hormonal balance, because it's not just too much or too low hormones, but it's the balance that matters. And that will give us the confidence that we can have at any age. Now, with aging, the frequency of sexual contact from women, it significantly decreases. There's a lot of studies, I'm quoting just one of them and the cartoon. And hormonal imbalance leads to loss of self-confidence. Hormonal imbalance is a systemic problem and should be treated as a systemic problem. What hormones are, they are communicators. They communicate in the system. Most of, and hormones influence sex drive are the very famous ones: low testosterone, insulin, IGF-1, low thyroid hormones, high cortisol, low estrogen, low DHEA, and so on and so forth. Now, the problem with hormonal decline is that what we experience, that the flame is gone, like we say. There's low energy, there's decreased sexuality, loose muscles, muscle weakness, weight gain, mood swings, difficulty sleeping, hair loss, and also vaginal laxity for women, which becomes a problem, and also painful intercourses due to dryness, fatigue, sagging breasts, etc. Cortisol is great when you're young because it provides the body with the energy it needs to face bodily attacks from injury and illness or infection. And in younger individuals, it has anti-inflammatory effects. However, in older people, the image completely is reversed, and cortisol becomes an enemy. It becomes, it gives us decreased musculature, increased abdominal fat, suppressed growth hormones, and reduced libido. There is a lot of studies on sexual dysfunction and obesity, and I'm quoting some of them here, and all of these studies indicate that when you lose weight, sexual activity is increased. However, here is the problem. The sex drive is low with no exercise, but it also is low with very strenuous exercise. There's a lot of studies to support that. And then we have another problem, and that is the visceral fat that cannot be removed with lasers or radio frequency. It enters inside our vital organs and compromises their function. And even the gym, if you work out in the gym and you're over 50, you're not going to get this. You're going to get this. Why? Because the visceral fat is going to remain underneath, and you're going to build the muscle. Because in order for you to get to the visceral fat area, you have to exercise so strenuously. And when you exercise strenuously, the cortisol goes up because you're stressing the body. Your testosterone is going to come down. There's an inverse relationship between cortisol and testosterone. And also your blood is going to be more acidic. So basically, you over-exercise and you end up back in square one where you keep putting on weight. And the benefits of high testosterone are very well known. You have sharper memory, you have positive eye look, healthier heart, easier to burn fat, you have an improved sex drive, and of course the opposite with low testosterone. There is new technologies now. There is one that was made by the co-inventor of the pacemaker in London University, and it basically targets visceral fat as well as other areas I will show you later. And there is a number of researchers around the world, from United States to Canada to Europe to Asia. This is how it works. Basically, it gives a signal to the motor nerve. It just stimulates the motor nerve, but the motor nerve expands that signal to the motor nerves around it. That signal basically simulates physical exercise. And the firing of these motor nerves activate the central nervous system, and this wave of motor nerves reaches the brain. It has to, because everything from the central nervous system reaches the brain. The brain will react the way it reacts during exercise. We release the hormones that are responsible for fat burning, like growth hormones and thyroid hormones, along with the insulin that helps these signals get into the cells. The fat cells are going to start shrinking, you see, because the contents are going to release in the bloodstream, and they're going to be burned. Glucose is going to burn with oxygen to start building muscle, and also enhance your well-being, increase your energy, increase your ability to breathe, and decrease, things like fatty liver. There was a study from Gerry Pollock in London University on cortisol, and this technology does not increase cortisol. We replicated this study very recently in Hong Kong with a new company, Neoderm, and what we found was we had significant increase of thyroid hormones. We had the cholesterol, VLDL, went down 99.9%. So extremely significant result, and we tested them right after the treatment, which usually the cholesterol you have to allow some time before you test it. The testosterone was higher for women but not for men, but the most important thing about this study is that everything was within the normal range. Nothing went above. We did another study some time ago. We used MRIs as well as concentrations of T3, and again we found the same thing, increased metabolism. We had increased the HEA and significant decrease of the triglycerides, which is basically consistent with the VLDL, because that's what the VLDL carries, triglycerides. And the visceral fat were very significant results before and after. And also the muscle mass increased at significant levels. This is an experimental study. We have some clinical studies from India on diabetes and fatty liver, and there was significant evidence that there is no fatty liver. Also, triglycerides went down. Again, you see the same things that we saw experimentally. The good cholesterol goes up and the bad cholesterol goes down. This is some other examples. That's only one treatment, actually. This is one treatment. This is two treatments, one treatment. Now, let's talk about something that's very interesting. Toxicity interferes with sex hormones. Actually, it interferes with the entire endocrinological system. So the problem is, as toxicity increases, hunger increases. So the more toxic you are, the more hormonally imbalanced you are, and the more hungry you are. The less toxic you are, the less hungry you're going to be. So you have this vicious circle. So you have hormonal imbalance, you get hungry, you eat more, you gain weight, you increase toxicity, you get more hormonally imbalanced, and it goes round and round and round and gets worse and worse. We did a study on blood flow and detoxification with a microscopic fly with a black field microscope, and we found a significant difference before and after where the blood is separated. We don't know why it separates, but we see this under the microscope. We don't know why, but it's just something that it's very consistent. This is a study on detox, just one treatment. And Dr. Pollock also used this technology for incontinence. He actually classified as class 2 CE mark for incontinence in London. Now, let's talk about cortisol. There's other problems with cortisol: wrinkles, pigmentations, eczema, rosacea, hair loss, all of those things. Because cortisol goes up, everything else goes down with aging. Here is a study on eczema before and after with psoriatic lesion and normal skin. This is a study on herpes zoster. This is an 87-year-old woman, only 2 treatments. She had a very good result. Acne, severe acne after 3 treatments. This is a keloid scar. It was made from liposuction, and after this is 6 treatments. It was significant improvement. This is only one treatment on stretch marks. We just recently did this in Jakarta in a clinic, and that's another study on stretch marks and keloid scars. It's only one study. The keloid scars got a little better. Of course, it did not go away. This is very recent. This lady only had the birth 6 months ago. So you can see the keloid scar had a much better improvement. So the shorter the life of the stretch marks and the keloid scars, the better the results. Hair loss studies. That's another study. Actually, this is reversed. No, this is okay. The before and the after. Now, estrogen decline in women creates problems. So on the left, you have a normal vagina, and on the right, you have an older vagina where it becomes the estrogen, there's an estrogen loss, there's a collagen loss. And there is also other problem, bacterial vaccinosis. And these problems basically can be helped with a number of technologies. You can have lasers, radio frequency, plastic surgery, and this newer technology, the signaling, we call them virtual gym and repair, and of course the hormonal balance. But it's only these newer technologies that will enhance sensation for women and orgasms. So when you ask your patients whether they're satisfied with the treatment, it's very important to put into your questionnaires whether these women just want to please their partner or they actually feel better. They actually, their sensual sensation is enhanced. Their organs are more intense and more frequent. And there has been a connection between the type C personality, people that always want to please others and always trying to be positive, and cancer, melanoma cancer, but also other types of cancer. And the research started with Temoshok. I worked with her in 1983 when she was doing a lot of research in that. So basically, always acting, trying to be pleasant and not taking care of yourself is another avenue that can lead to cancer. I did a study in 1993 on emotions and physical illness, and I found that shame seemed to be the most highly correlated feeling with physical illness. So again, being ashamed to talk about, to express yourself, to be assertive, again, is the path to illness. So it's not just the hormones, but the psychology also that should be taken, that you should be interested in. And the psychotherapy should be part of treating women. And it should be part in terms of increasing degrees of freedom, making them more free, and introducing them to themselves, making them more assertive, making them more balanced in terms of understanding their strengths and weaknesses, having a more realistic appraisal about themselves, have a relief from shame to be able to be assertive and say what they want and what they need, and basically to free themselves from the past and move on to something new. And with that, I will thank you very much for inviting me.
Now we have a little bit of time for questions, so no? Okay, so then, okay, one question at the back, yeah.
Hi, thank you for a nice lectures, Dr. Ginter. I seen on your slides the testosterone forms, which is the deponated forms, like an Ibidor, which we are using a lot for the male patients. And your personal opinion about the such a deponated forms of the all other hormones, and not specifically testosterone, the same like with the vitamin D or others. If it's correlated with the cycle, like